Hi everyone, we are back live in Miami at Possible. We are in our content studio here with Assembly Global, and we are continuing our conversations with thought leaders and partners in the media industry, and super psyched to be sitting here with Fabrice Beer-Gabel with Intent IQ. Thank you, Fabrice, for joining us.
Toni, thank you so much for having me here. It's delightful.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about Intent IQ.
Of course. So I run strategy and partnerships with Intent IQ. We're an identity resolution technology pioneer, powering over 2 billion cookieless addressable ads every day for publishers and for marketers.
Amazing. Well, let's dive in. So with signal loss from iOS and other privacy shifts, the addressable audience landscape has been dramatically reduced. How is Intent IQ helping marketers and publishers navigate this challenge?
Toni, that's a wonderful question. Thanks for asking. Let's start with this. Talking about audience shrinking, there is out there right now 150 million iPhone users that are all cookieless.
Wow.
There are 72 million desktop users that are using Safari browsers, Firefox, Edge. All of this is a huge universe of audience and users who have been pretty much shut down from the traditional audience, the audience-driven targeting in programmatic.
Right.
What we have been working on over the years through our technology and numerous partnerships is lining up those audiences again for advertisers and for publishers. For publishers, it means recouping some of the lost revenue. And for advertisers, it means adding to their audience universe the ability to continue the journey with users on their iPhones, to do prospecting, to do retargeting, all that with a precision targeting in mind. And that is really thanks to, for example, our partnership with Assembly, yielding outstanding results.
Love that. And obviously, as a brand performance agency, and we think about consumer experience and storytelling, being able to continue to make those meaningful connections and to tell that sort of cohesive story and have that cohesive experience is super critical. So working with partners and solutions like Intent IQ is critical for sure.
Yeah, and we thank you for the partnership that we have built together, which is really, fantastic. But from our perspective, technology should be no reason to prevent, brands and users and their audiences to have a smooth, continuous journey and engagement across platforms.
So we're here all week sort of talking about innovation. So curious, what innovations in identity resolution or audience targeting are you most excited about right now?
So primarily the technology innovation that allows to light up these audiences requires sophisticated identity resolution. And in that space, what we have seen is the emergence of what is called alternative IDs, which are a privacy-safe alternative to what's traditionally known as the third-party cookie. Now, the challenge with these IDs is that they often offer either scale or accuracy, and it's very hard to combine the two.
Right.
But for an advertiser, for a client that's working with, Assembly, they cannot sacrifice one for the other. So the technology challenge here is to reconcile an ability to be precise, to be accurate, while reaching the entire universe of those audiences that have been really sunset.
Super helpful. One question, I'm going to go off script for a minute here, but it feels like a lot of the updates around cookie deprecation change every day. So do you see any changes with your partners in terms of how they're approaching and thinking about solutions like Intent IQ? Are they still prioritizing in the same way? Should we be?
Yeah, this is a great question. Haven't we gone 360 degrees on the
Yes,
Google cookie, right?
absolutely. Yes.
So I'm glad that story is ending. We do have cookies in Chrome.
Yes.
Wonderful. But there are still 150 million iPhone users and 70 million
Great
desktop
point.
users that are without them. And there's no point for a marketer to say, well, I'm going to just talk to those people, and then
Right.
the others, will go contextual on them, which is kind of, much broader, but not as precise and surgical in their ability to target. So I would say for marketers right now, what is important is to have privacy in mind.
Right.
Privacy regulation is changing. And it is a little bit of a challenge to keep up to speed and up to date with that. So you want to have partners who are on top of this totally. Privacy being one, and the other part being the ability to reunite this entire universe, no matter what signal they have at hand.
Right. So it sounds like we're talking about future proofing here. So regardless of like the changes that keep happening day to day, we're feeling a bit of whiplash in some cases like Google, but regardless, privacy, concerns and regulations aren't going away. So making sure that we're continuing to stay equipped for tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. We're talking about future proofing, but we are talking about value now.
Yes.
In other words, any marketer who wants to reach iPhone users with audience data, this is not a future thing. This is a now thing,
Love it.
right? So this is about...
Take note.
Yeah. And we'll be on stage with, Art Binder tomorrow, who will be telling about specific stories of things we've done. But this is today about adding those iPhone users to any activation, right? And while doing so, it's also about future proofing.
Yep, love that. Thank you. That's super helpful, and I think that gives us a lot of clarity that we're looking for. So let's talk about real life examples. Can you share an example of how a brand or publisher has successfully adapted their identity strategy using Intent IQ's technology to really drive a full funnel performance?
Of course. So I'm going to go a little more adopt specific on you here.
Yeah.
But it's important to give very specific and concrete example. So here is an example of a prestigious, education institution that is looking to engage and prospect potential students for professional education. They have first-party data, and that first-party data gives valuable insight about who their audience is. So here is a case where we are onboarding and matching that first-party data, that 1P, and then we are building a lookalike audience for prospecting. And we're activating that audience across cookie and cookieless universe. So think about it like we're in a traditional audience campaign today. You would be using cookies and reaching kind of half the universe.
Right.
We're now adding the other half. What has the other half produced? An incremental reach of 115%.
Wow.
Incremental leads at the bottom of the funnel, people who are saying, I am interested in that program, 80%, right? And a cost per lead that is lower than Chrome. Here is why. Even though iPhone users are considered in many cases as a premium audience, they are hard to target. Therefore, CPMs tend to be lower. So there is even a performance opportunity there.
Yeah. So it sounds like earlier you talked about that balance of like scale and precision, and we need both, but also finding that efficiency, unlocking that efficiency, which is really like
that's right.
Everything coming together. Everything we all want as advertisers, for sure. Looking ahead, what's your prediction for how the identity space will evolve over the next 12 to 18 months? And what should brands be doing now to stay ahead of the curve? We want to leave them with some tips and things to plan for. What's their playbook?
I think I'll go back to the importance of combining privacy-safe approaches with maximum addressability at scale. What that means for a marketer is if they have 1P, collect it and use it. Work with partners who are connected within one ecosystem that enables you as a marketer to engage your audiences at all stages of the funnel across any platform device universe. And identity is foundational to doing this. Identity must be kind of that glue that combines that privacy and that connectivity across platform. We just announced a partnership with Google Cloud, where this is going to provide efficiencies to marketers to be able to onboard their data, activate their data, do all sorts of things like that. We're working with other partners, with working with Snowflake, with other. The whole point being, keep that addressability across the universe of devices and audience.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think that one of the bigger trends we're seeing today in conversations is really how do we continue to show up in meaningful ways as the media landscape is evolving, and really have that still cohesive storytelling and consumer experience. Yeah. Thank you, Fabrice, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Really
and I know you hurt your leg.
Oh, yes,
recently.
thank you.
I wish you to be a ballet dancer next time I meet you.
3 weeks time.
I can't
3
wait.
weeks time.
Ballet
Thank you
dancer
so much.
right there.